Hey BrewTubers, happy Homebrew Wednesday. I don't know when I'll be uploading this. It might be either like a weekend edition or for the upcoming Homebrew Wednesday for the first week of June. So I have a bunch of updates. First I have a bottle that I didn't label yet of my Porr beer, which has been in the bottle for just over 2 weeks because I wanted to bottle it before I went to LA / make sure it was carved before sending it to SJ.
It is time. It is time to brew your best beer.
Crack it open. It doesn't seem to be jumping out of the bottle, which is good. And it's definitely carved. I'm going to use my my Dogfish Head IPA glass just to get the aromas. It's definitely throwing a gigantic head, which means maybe a tad overcarved, but I can really smell the hops jumping out of the glass. Yeah, it's a touch overcarved, but not like jumping out of the bottle overcarved. So when you pour it, you might need to pour it slowly. But this glass, is pretty hard to pour into because of the shape. But it is a nice, looking at how to hold it into the light. It is pretty dark, black, almost dark brown to pretty close to black, at least in this lighting. The big, full hand of off-white tan head, capped by a nice foam over the top. Oh, it smells so good. You can definitely smell a little bit of the malt, a little touch of the malt. But mainly like a very citrusy from from all the dry hopping. Once you taste it, it's gonna be in the bottle for a month. But at the 2-week mark, if it's this pungent, 2 more weeks won't really kill it. So because you're supposed to get it by June 16th, which will be the month mark. But it's smelling quite like a black IPA, with just like a tinge of that malt mixed into the hop flavor aroma. Really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a taste. It's still attached cold because I threw it in the freezer for 20 minutes just to get it cooled down. But let's give it a taste. Okay, so if I need to warm up, there's not a ton of flavoring hop, at least from what I can taste. It goes like a lot of hops in the aroma, but the malts really shine in the flavor. Yeah, the hops are up front, and then it fades into like a nice rye, slightly dark malty, like chocolatey almost, but not really. Yeah, all the hops are up front, and then the malts come in the back. I'm gonna have to let it warm up, get my full opinion, but that's just my initial response. So I guess you guys who are gonna try it will let me know. I'm just wanted to pour it, show you it, and get my initial response, and then maybe in the notes below I'll post what I thought about it in the end. But really, it's up to you guys to judge anyway. And since I did have some issues with the mash, we'll see what happens, as the beer ages, because this is only a little over 2 weeks in the bottle, so it could really develop to its full potential over the next couple of weeks, especially for a 7.5% beer. But I'll tell you a touch about what I did in LA. My main goal was to go there for a vacation / a wedding, but I did visit 2 breweries. The Brewery, just spelled Bruery, in Placenta, California. I mean, most of you American, craft beer drinkers and Homebrew would have heard of it. So we went there, met up with my friend Ben Weiss, who I've interviewed before. He showed us around the brewery, told us about some of the stuff they're working on, and then we went to the tasting room and tried a bunch of the really rare stuff, including the very sought after Black Tuesday Imperial Stout. which they had on tap because it was their anniversary month in May, and so they had a ton of limited stuff on tap and like a 40 tap tasting room. It was just really amazing for a brewery. Not many breweries have craft breweries, especially on that size, where they're only brewing right now on a 15-barrel system. They're upgrading soon, but right now they're still brewing on that system. To be able to put 40 of their own beers. Yes, there's some variations, different barrels or whatever. But to be that creative, to be able to put 40 of their own beers in kegs and on tap, it just really blew me away. I tried a good amount of them, only a tiny bit, because most of their beers, just the barrel aged ones, are really high ABV, like 10% and above. But I had a great time. I took mostly pictures there because I just was trying to focus on having a good time and finally visiting the brewery. And plus, we had just arrived in LA that day, so I really wasn't, in the right mindset to like film and be really cool to put together a tour video. I really wanted to, but it just didn't turn out that way. And then on Monday, because we arrived on Thursday and went to the brewery on Thursday, on Monday we went to Stone. It was Memorial Day weekend, so because Monday was the only real day we can go and dedicate to driving down to San Diego, like Mitch Steele or any of the big names at Stone weren't there, so we had to do the basic tour, which is cool to see what they show you. They should show you the brew system a little bit. They don't let you go up on the brew deck, and they show you some of the fermenters and talk about the brewery and some of the stuff they're working on, but nothing really crazy. The main good part about going to Stone, in my opinion, is just to see the brewery, to see the gardens that they have at their main site there. They sit and enjoy beers there, and outside. It's really cool just to walk around. So I'll post pictures from that as well. So I spent about $200, in it on bottled beer to bring back, and thankfully luckily all the beer made it back safely in my suitcases, which we put fragile stickers on when we checked them in. And I had to check my little carry-on suitcase to make sure we weren't overweight. And we were overweight with one suitcase, but since the next big suitcase was under by a few pounds, we were good. So we got them all home, and most of them are limited release beers. No, all of them are really, except for maybe one. No, 4 of them aren't really limited release, but they're not. I can't get any of them on the East Coast in the New York area, so they're limited to me. So I'll probably drink some over time, maybe post a review here and there, but they're really just to bring home and try a lot of limited release beers that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to get. So coming back to home brewing, so I plan on shipping my beers to SJ on Monday, which would be January 2nd, so they should be able to get from New York to Pennsylvania by the 6th. I'll let SJ know once I've shipped them, just in case they get there a day late. At least he knows that I shipped them before the deadline. June 2nd, I should say. So just so he knows, I shipped them before the deadline. So we'll go from there. Alright guys, so about this book, when I interviewed John Palmer, I didn't buy the copy of the book, even though I wanted to. So the next day I knew the brewer of 508, Chris Kuzme, was going to be interviewing him for his podcast called Ferment about it, and I'll include a link to the podcast he did with him below. So I said, you know what, Chris, can you please buy me a copy of the book? I'll pay you back next time I see you, have him sign it, but not personalize it, and then I'll do a contest. So I'll post a picture of the signature somewhere in this video, and what I need you guys to do to win the book, I'll probably keep the contest line open for a few weeks, is to either post a video about why you think water is so important to brewing, and if you plan on adjusting your water at some point, what are your plans, like what's a recipe, one of your recipes, and what would you add to it to adjust the water? Or if you've been doing it already, then talk about a beer you brewed and how you adjusted the water and stuff like that. Or you can just send me an email with like a recipe and why you adjusted the water and what it brought to the final product. Just basically just for us to all see, and read about what water brings to your brewing. So, and then at the end of the 2-3 weeks, I'll just, pick someone, pick one of the entries that I like best and send them the book, no matter where it is, because it's just a book. Maybe I'll include maybe a sticker, a John Palmer sticker. I think I have one extra, maybe a few other little, doodads, maybe a bottle opener or something like that. But yeah, so that'll be the contest. But yeah, so I don't really have much footage to share because, like I said, I took mostly pictures in California and not video. So maybe I'll just include a few pictures at the end of this video, or make a totally separate one. I'll probably just make a totally separate collage video with music in the background, just showing you some pictures, and then if and then later on put up an album on Facebook, on my Facebook page, or on a different website, and then link to it on my blog. But yeah, so that's what I have for now. I'm not gonna tell you my final thoughts on my SJ Porr beer because I want you guys to tell me your thoughts on it, and then later on maybe I'll tell you what my final thoughts on it. But I like it so far. Maybe it's not exactly what I wanted, but it's pretty close. So cheers, happy Homebrew Wednesday, and I'll see you soon.